Preston with Families, we hope that these worship experiences are helpful to you and your family during this time. We want to encourage you and we want to help you keep the focus on God and His faithfulness. Today we're going to learn that you can trust God no matter what. But first, let's stand up and worship together.
I've got a reason to keep believing true, whatever comes my way. 'Cause I put my hope and trust in the only one who's faithful every day. In the darkest night, you are by my side. I'm never alone because I know I can always trust you. Savior who will always walk me through whatever comes my way. 'Cause I put my hope and trust in the only one who's faithful every day. In the darkest night, you are by my side. I'm never alone because I know I can always trust you.
Great job worshiping. I hope you guys taught your parents some of those dance moves. Now we are going to study God's Word by looking at Genesis 26:34 through chapter 28. Jacob faced some uncertain circumstances in his life, and he had to trust God even when things didn't look so great.
Hey everybody, Haley here, and it is a beautiful day for a hike. The sky is blue, there's no sign of rain, and there's a cool breeze blowing. Beautiful. It is like a hiker's heaven. Hallelujah! I started out bright and early this morning, and now I am hungry. So I'm gonna take a little break and enjoy some ramen noodles. I like to treat myself to a hot, warm meal even on short one-day trips like this one. And why not? My camp stove is small, it's lightweight, and it cooks really fast. Let's have a taste, shall we? Yes, it's gonna be delicious. Stir it up and come to mama. Oh, it's still cold. Hold please. Okay, so my camp stove is not working, which is not my favorite. I trusted you, stove! I trusted you, stove! Looks like it's trail mix lunch for me today. I will just fetch some from my brand new handy dandy backpack. Yeah. Bring on that granola goodness. What? No. No! What? Hold please. Okay, so there's a hole in my brand new handy dandy backpack. See? Trail mix could have fallen out miles ago. Isn't there anything on this trip I can trust? Trust is putting your confidence in someone you can depend on. Or something like the GPS on my cell phone that's gonna help me find a nearby shelter, and there's no signal. In today's story, you're gonna hear about a guy named Jacob who went on a hike himself. Let's see if he had more success than I've had. Looks like it's uncooked ramen noodles for me today. Yummy. Hooray. Delicious.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. And now for an amazing story inspired by the book of Genesis, chapter 28, verses 10 to 22.
The Bible. It's God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us, even when we turned our backs on Him. As we travel through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, we'll discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. God chose Abraham to be the father of a great nation, promising him that all people would be blessed through him. Though Abraham had to wait many years, God gave him his son, Isaac. And when Isaac grew up, him and his wife Rebekah had twin boys named Jacob and Esau. Esau, the eldest by a few minutes, was a wild man.
I ran 20 miles this morning. I'm so hungry I could eat a gazelle.
Jacob, the younger son, tended to use his wits instead of his muscles.
I'll let you eat some of this stew for one eensy-weensy favor.
Anything.
Give me your rights as the oldest.
Dying of hunger, so yeah, whatevs.
In a single moment, Jacob had tricked Esau out of his right as the firstborn son. That meant that one day, Jacob would lead the family and get the largest share of property and money, all for a bowl of soup. Jacob was sneaky, but, well, so was his mother Rebekah. Parents aren't supposed to play favorites, but Rebekah had chosen Jacob as her favorite son anyway. As Isaac grew older and weaker, his eyesight began to fail. He called out for Esau and asked for a tasty meal, promising him a special blessing afterward. Rebekah overheard them.
I don't think so.
She sent immediately for her favorite son, Jacob.
Go out to the flock. Bring me 2 of the finest young goats. I will prepare tasty food for your father. I want you to take it to him. Then he'll give you his blessing before he dies, instead of Esau.
Ooh, I like it. But wait, Esau is hairy. My skin is smooth. If Dad touches me, he'll know I'm not Esau.
Just do what I say.
On it.
Jacob brought goats to his mother, who then made an extra tasty meal and fresh bread. She then tied pieces of rough, hairy goatskin over Jacob's hands.
P.U., these do not smell good.
You're supposed to be Esau. He doesn't smell so good either.
Jacob brought the meal to Isaac, pretending to be Esau. Isaac was fooled and gave his special blessing to Jacob.
May God give you the richness of the earth. May nations serve you. Rule over your brothers.
Jacob quickly snuck away as Esau arrived with a special meal of wild meat just for his father.
It's me, Esau.
Then who brought me a meal? I ate it just before you came. I gave him my blessing.
Ooh, that Jacob. What about me? Bless me too.
Twice now Jacob had tricked his older brother. Esau was furious.
Jacob is going down.
Rebekah overheard Esau's plan to harm his brother. She called for Jacob.
Esau is planning to get back at you. I want you to run away to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay with him until your brother's anger calms down. Then you can come back.
Okay.
Though Jacob was a talented trickster, he wasn't very brave in the face of Esau's threats. He knew that Esau had a right to be angry. So he left home and set out on his own for Haran. The land stretched out in every direction around him, bare and empty.
All by myself.
Isaac had given his blessing to Jacob, and with it, God's promise to make a great nation of his descendants. But Jacob had already done so many wrong things. He must have wondered whether God would really be with him and help him.
Ooh, it's getting dark. I better make camp.
Jacob left home so quickly, he'd carried very little with him.
I don't have anything to sleep on, not even a pillow.
Exhausted, Jacob picked up a smooth stone, laid down, and placed it underneath his head like a pillow.
Not exactly memory foam.
As Jacob fell asleep, a vivid dream overtook him. In the dream, he saw a grand staircase rising before him. It rested on the ground, but swept high up into the sky, up to heaven. Brilliant angels of God climbed up and down the stairway in a blaze of light.
Wow.
The Lord himself stood beside the steps. Overwhelmed, Jacob could barely breathe.
I am the Lord. I am the God of Abraham and Isaac. I will give you and your children the land you are lying on. They will be like the dust of the earth that can't be counted. All nations on earth will be blessed because of you. I am with you. I will watch over you everywhere you go, and I will bring you back to this land.
Jacob could only gape as the light shone brighter and brighter, and then he woke up. The night was still pitch black, cold. Jacob shook in fear and awe.
The Lord is surely in this place. How holy it is. This must be the house of God. This is the gate of heaven.
Jacob couldn't sleep a wink that night. Early in the morning, he picked up the smooth stone that he used as the pillow and placed it where he had seen the stairway in his dream.
This stone will always stand here as a reminder of God's presence.
Jacob even changed the name of the place from Luz to Bethel, which means house of God. He stood straight up, threw back his head, and looked up to heaven.
May God be with me. May he watch over me on this journey. May he do as he has promised, so that I can return safely to my father's home. Then you, Lord, will be my God.
As the sun rose higher, Jacob picked up his few possessions and set off once again for Haran. Though he had failed before and would fail again, he knew that he could trust God to be faithful.
One thing you learn when you're hiking is that there are just some things you can't always depend on. You can't always trust your cell phone to have signal. You can't always trust the weather app to be right about the weather. Sometimes things just don't always go as planned. And it's true with people too. Sometimes you can't always depend on people. Your mom or dad may say they're gonna do something and then they don't do it. Or you may catch your friend making fun of you behind your back. I mean, isn't there anybody we can trust? I'll answer for you. Yes, Jacob knew. Jacob was the son of Isaac and the grandson of Abraham. And Jacob learned that the one he could trust was the same one who promised to make his grandfather into a great nation. The same one who created the world and everything in it. God. God promised Jacob that he'd have more children than he could count. And we know God kept that promise because when God changed Jacob's name to Israel, guess who his family became? A great nation. The Israelites. Ding, 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 ding. Tell them what they won, Johnny. And that's not all. God promised Jacob that the whole world would be blessed because of his family. And hundreds of years later, one of Jacob's relatives, Jesus, the Son of God, gave his life to pay for the sins of the whole world. God is always the one you can trust. You can trust God when you feel all alone. You can trust God when life doesn't seem to make sense. You can trust God when you feel anxious or feel under pressure. You can trust God no matter what. That's the one thing to remember today. You can trust God no matter what. Well, I've rested long enough. My belly is full of uncooked ramen, and my bag is packed and ready for the journey. It's about time I head home. I'll see you next time. I'm trusting you. Bye! I kind of need this, yeah.
Jacob was all alone out in the desert and wondered if he could still trust God to be with him and protect him. God reminded Jacob in his dream that I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land, and I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. God reminded Jacob that he was with him and that he could trust him no matter what. That is the thing that we want you to remember. You can trust God no matter what. When things are different and can be scary, we can trust that God is with us. He is always with us. He never leaves us. And we hope that during this time that you're trusting God and that you know that He is faithful. We'll see you next time.